This podcast is not for children. It is a podcast in which four friends get together and try to amaze each other with facts about the world or how I found out those facts about the world enough that someone else at the podcast will say,
Holy fucking science!
That was a really good one, Stefan.
Yeah.
I try to vary it every time.
Yeah. You're the voice of the theme music, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you do that
the
version?
scream.
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
I'll bring the...
Holy fucking science!
Yeah, it's
That
like
was
that.
basically what I
man.
did in the basement over here.
That was beautiful.
Today we are joined by Stefan Chen.
Hi.
Stefan is here with us pretty frequently. You work on SciShow.
I'm producer of SciShow, SciShow Space, and SciShow Psych is the other one. That
You've been
we
doing
do.
it for a long time
Yeah.
now.
5 years coming up.
Caitlin Hoffmeister is also with us.
Yeah.
Also works on
work
SciShow. Making SciShows happen.
Yeah. Yep.
You're sort of in charge of the entire SciShow world.
I sort of am. Yeah. You really are.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Stefan and I after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Valerie Barr.
Yes. I work for VidCon doing programming things. And I like to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know why I whispered that.
That's really good podcast etiquette is you just start whispering. No one minds at all.
Yep.
Today our topic on Holy Fucking Science is fast food, which I feel like was probably Val's idea.
Yeah. But then I think all of our topics are not, they're like a little bit tangential.
And I'll be like, we're going to be totally open here, 100%. Hank came without a topic today, you guys. It happened. We're going to be all right. I'll just ask lots of good questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not fact gather. This will be my first time, and then at the end I'm going to pick which one of you had the best fact.
Ooh.
I feel like that's giving you too much power and it makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
I
for being
am
lazy.
a powerful man.
I know, that's why I don't want to give
I'm
you
your
more
bully.
power. Well, and also like probably you need people to help keep you in check.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
You don't
Yeah,
want. Yeah,
checks
you
and
don't want me to
balances.
fly
We're not going to
away.
be your
Checks
yes
and
men.
balances.
yeah.
I don't want you to be my yes man. I want you
To be judged by me.
fascinate the people listening to the podcast, and so I want you to know that you have a stake in this, and that if
Yeah.
you don't if you lose the contest, then
No.
you'll have to live with
That's
that
where you
for a
lost
week.
me. That's where you lost
Yeah.
me.
Wait, you can't come back for a week on this weekly podcast? That's the punishment?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can't come back for a whole week. All I came with is that apparently, if you want to go to a fast food restaurant, the healthiest option, weirdly enough, is usually Taco Bell.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Their cantina menu.
Cantina menu, is that what they
I
call
think
it?
that's what it's called. It's all the
cantina
fresher looking things.
And it comes with alcohol?
Chicken. Huh?
'Cause that's
Because,
what a
yeah, you
cantina
can't have a
is.
cantina without alcohol.
Maybe that's not what it's called. Power menu.
Power menu.
That's what
The
it is.
power
Cantina,
cantina.
Spanish for
Yeah.
power menu.
Yeah, so it's a power cantina. It sounds like a place where you have like a drink, but also there's workout machines.
Oh, yeah.
And like suits. Red
or
suits.
red suits with like a workout suit.
Like a power suit.
Like a power
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel so bad that I got something wrong about Taco Bell. I should
Wait,
know these things.
So the
See,
reason
you
the
freaked
reason
them out
why
'cause you
I
said we were
assumed
gonna get judged.
oh my god, I typed cantina into the dictionary or the Google, I guess is what
The
that's called now.
Google. What is a cantina?
I don't know. All I know is
Star
the
Wars?
song.
Definition is right
the
there.
Song, oh yes, especially it's
Why I
it's
asked.
a wine shop in Italy,
Oh.
but in Spanish-speaking country it's a bar.
Okay.
But in news radio, the television show,
Yeah.
is like the reason I know the word cantina was from when I was a youth. Nina in the Cantina was a song that only existed in the news radio universe, and one of the characters, Nina, was Nina from the Cantina, and then it turned out that actually she wasn't.
Oh.
And that was the plot of that episode. And I watched it because I remembered that so clearly that I went and I watched that episode of News Radio and I was like,
Yeah.
this show's pretty funny.
I don't know if that was interesting enough. You're banished for a week.
Oh!
You're out.
I can't come
I
back to the
judged.
podcast for another week.
Who has the power
I agree.
now?
That was a deeply uninteresting story. So I figure we're talking about fast food today because
Fast food,
Val is working on a Munch Squad zine. Is that correct?
Ooh,
Or
yeah.
is this a brand integration we're doing with your zine?
Yes, I
with,
support
I don't want to talk about this. It's not relevant.
To be fair, Val pitched this idea, I think, before the Munch Squad idea.
Oh, I
Magazine.
just listed a lot of nouns that came into my head for topics. Eggs, hopefully someday.
Yeah.
All right. Who goes first? The person who ate at a fast food restaurant most recently goes first. Who was it? When was the last fast food you ate?
I probably had McDonald's a couple weeks ago,
Oh,
2 or
wow.
3 weeks ago.
Oh man, I eat a lot of fast food.
I
Val,
can't remember.
you haven't had Taco Bell
No, I
recently?
can't either.
No, it's
You
been-
want a munch?
I had it like I think I had whenever the Taco Bell fries came out. I had
What?
those.
Taco Bell fries?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Potatoes? Like they fry potatoes, or are they?
Yeah,
like
they're
corn
normal
fries.
fries, but they taste
They're
like
like
basically
Cajun.
Arby's curly fries. So like I'd say a week and a half. I can't remember the exact day.
Okay, Galen.
I don't know. I'm a big Wendy's fan.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like whenever I'm on reserve, I usually go to Wendy's.
Wendy's
but
was my last.
yeah,
stop.
but I can't remember. It's
Was it more
maybe
than 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was around
Okay.
Christmas.
So we're gonna go
Oh,
Val,
wow.
Stefan, Caitlin.
Okay.
You did it. You're first.
Man.
You
I
seem so
honestly-
not excited about this.
I was hoping I would be in the middle somewhere, but it's okay.
Well, we'll just pretend
There's
like Hank
barely
already
even
went.
I kind of already
Yeah.
did go.
Yeah.
I did that whole thing about how
primed it.
Taco Bell's
Yeah.
slightly healthy, and then I talked about
Yeah.
news radio for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we can continue on vaguely Mexican food train, I've been very into bread lately.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
Baking
Yes, you
things. I got a sourdough starter, and I'm starting to do that. So
That's
I was
awesome.
just searching around for any science of fast food that wasn't like psychology or just like how bad it is for you, because I have no offense to either of you if that's one of your topics,
No.
but like that's like ho-hum kind of thing. So fast food generally has a lot of preservatives in it because
Has to get to you.
yeah, and it has to be mass produced easily and stored for a while somewhere
and all
before.
taste the same and
And like,
Yeah.
also not go poorly. Like, if there's a E. coli outbreak at a fast food restaurant, it tends to happen at multiple restaurants at the same
Right.
time, and then it's really bad for the company.
Yeah.
And
And
it's kind of
people of the
remarkable that it doesn't
world.
happen more often.
Well, I'm going to talk about Chipotle, which is where that happened most
Yeah.
recently, most
Really?
famously, right? Chipotle has been working to. This is going to sound like an ad for Chipotle for a lot of this. I like Chipotle, but they've been working to like have no preservatives or have everything as fresh and
Right.
local as possible. And one of the last things that it took them a while to figure out was how to do that for their tortillas, because those
Sure.
have to be super mass produced. They can get moldy really quickly because they're kind of wet, you know.
and they're
When
like
they're all
stacked
stacked
together.
together.
Yeah.
So they partnered with a place called the Bread Lab, which is at Washington State University project to have them work on creating a tortilla that would be sustainable to make in all their different like bakery plants that they have everywhere.
Yeah.
Because Chipotle serves like or uses like 800,000 a day.
That's a lot of tortillas. Sometimes I just have to step back and be like, shit, man.
Yeah.
How does it all work? How do they make it all work?
I don't know. And
Like,
then-
how do we not make 800,000 too many tortillas every day, or like 800,000 too few? Like, you just go a little bit over,
Yeah.
and you've got like way too
Like a
many
million
fucking
extra
tortillas.
tortillas.
or not enough if everyone's like,
Huh.
Yeah.
Chipotle today.
Yeah.
Chipotle sounds good.
That's what I always think. Everything else is kind of easier because it's a lot of fresh ingredients anyway. First, they experimented with the different types of wheat that they wanted to use in it. 'Cause initially, they wanted to get it down to 4 ingredients, which was
Okay.
flour, oil, water, salt. Also, I assume yeast, but maybe that doesn't
No,
count.
they don't rise.
yeah,
I
they
don't think.
They don't. Yeah.
Well, there's a
Right?
thing is that they do have some yeast in them because they were experimenting with using a sourdough starter
oh,
for the yeast, which is just water and flour plus
some kind of
things that come in
microorganism.
from the
Yeah.
environment, which is very hard to control because starters made in different environments can add totally different flavors to the bread. They're hard to maintain because temperature and timing affects them a lot.
Right.
So they thought about using sourdough as like the yeast element, but they ended up not because it was too complicated to
Yeah.
get the factories to do that at mass scale and to get the timing right when you're making 800,000
Yeah.
a day.
Sourdough tortilla though sounds so yummy.
Yeah.
It
Like, I wanna
does.
eat that.
And that was another thing that they were trying to figure out was because like they don't want customers to be like weirded out by something that tastes or looks
little
super different.
Yeah. Like the amazing thing is you can have like a McDonald's hamburger in any state in America, and it's like
Yeah.
that tastes exactly what I expected it to taste like.
So they worked with to figure out the flour too. This is mostly what the lab does a ton of things, but
The bread lab.
yes, there are multiple now that have been like sort of inspired by at other universities and stuff. But the original one was in Washington. Yeah. So the director of the lab is Stephen Jones. He's a plant geneticist, and he breeds wheat basically to get like the most nutrition, flavor, and like sustainable practices to like sort of like de-homogenize the types
Yeah.
of wheats that we eat. and to figure out ones that are sustainable and stuff like that. But for the tortilla, we're looking for hard white wheats. And so it's still wheat bread, but it looks more like white flour because if it was brown, people would be like,
This
this is this is healthier. Like,
I hate working for Chipotle so much right now.
Yeah.
so this took like 2 or 3 years for them to develop.
Wow.
The Bread Lab partners
some
with lots of
high-tech.
lots of other companies. They did Cliff Bars, Patagonia, which has like foods line
know that.
I
apparently,
didn't know that either.
King Arthur flour, and some other stuff. This place started out being like a 600 square foot room somewhere, and they expanded to 12,000 square feet, and they have like a bread convention every year for bakers and stuff. And it's
What I
really
want-
Can we
cool.
go?
Here's what I want. I want something where I can pour flour, oil, salt, and water into the nozzle, and then just like tortillas come out the other side.
Shoots
I think
tortillas out.
probably that's what. I don't know how you make them at that scale.
Right, but I think
in a
why doesn't
factory
every
bakery.
Chipotle have one of those? And so they don't have to worry about mold because it's happening there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because they bake their bread at like Subway.
Or like a Krispy Kreme.
But they're not making the dough at
line.
Subway. Aren't they just getting like probably frozen dough or something?
I don't know.
I can't
I have
imagine.
no
Frozen
idea.
tortilla
I've
dough
never
and
worked
then-
at Subway.
Yeah.
But they do. They definitely make the. Where's that place? It's called Cafe Rio. They make their tortillas there. That you like watch them do it, and it's like, yeah, do that.
That's a good question because Chipotle's like
good.
really working on that like image of freshness and
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean
it
they are
probably
better.
just-
I looked up McDonald's and Taco Bell's tortillas and they all have like
Bunch of
11 or
stuff.
12 ingredients. Most of them are like
I just like the thing. The thing I
monocalcium
feel
phosphate.
is generally like I don't mind eating preservatives.
No, me neither.
I'd rather eat preservatives
Yeah,
than
I
like
mean,
molds, which
yeah.
like who knows
I
what
don't know, I
mold that
love
is? It could be a
cheese.
bunch of
Yeah.
different. Could be a bunch of different species of mold.
If I know
That's
the
a mystery mold.
into
If I
it.
know which
Mold.
mold it is,
Yeah, that'd be
then
good.
just let me know. Like,
Yeah.
Do you want to know how they had to add in more precautions to their bakeries to get to like counteract the not putting all the preservatives and mold inhibitors in, which they worked with their bakeries to make. It feels weird saying bakery when it's like factory.
Yeah.
A bakery factory.
it's a big bakery.
So they like redid the ventilation so that they had better ventilation to cut down on just the mold spores that were in the factory. And they also packed the tortillas in bags full of nitrogen instead of oxygen because that inhibits
Ooh.
yeah.
Holy fucking sites, that's so weird and
Yeah.
cool.
yeah because that inhibits oxygen
Right.
like
they don't have anything to
yeah.
eat.
yep.
Oh my gosh,
Dude,
cool.
that's
And then they
like
deliver them faster.
when you
than
die
those.
in a low oxygen
That's
environment.
exactly what I was just thinking about.
And your
Stefan
body
and I-
doesn't decompose.
Right.
Steph
If
and
you
I
just
were
if you
talking
just
about-
if you just left it in the bag and buried it, they'd
Yes.
fossilize.
Yeah.
Yes, Steph and I were working on an episode about dying on Mars earlier, and now I want to see what a bakery on Mars would be like.
Well, I don't think
No
yeast,
mold.
the yeast wouldn't
No
work
mold,
either.
no.
No, just
No.
tortillas and dead people that never rot.
Tortilla.
Come
I'd
into
like
a
the
neighbor
mummy
planet.
tortilla from Mars Chipotle.
Yeah.
Mars
Your
Chipotle.
main thing you got to contend with is just high energy solar particles, and that's a long
Yeah, that's-
experience.
Yeah, then you don't. It's
That
like an easy
also-
bake oven.
yeah.
It's an extra layer
Easy bake.
of sterilization.
Real easy bake. Yeah, it does continue to sterilize you. That's for sure. Just send my body to Mars, you guys.
That is like such a simple solution, and so cool and weird.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for those poor people at Chipotle working so hard to try and get preservatives and stuff out of their food and have it be all fresh, and everybody gets fucking E. coli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody, well, maybe I should just eat Wendy's.
Wendy's
Never
so
frozen.
good.
Fr-
Never
frozen.
Never
These
frozen.
have never been frozen.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go next.
Okay, go,
I don't have a
go.
fact.
Oh, holy fucking
Holy.
wow. Maybe we should stop because Hank just went, and maybe we should talk about Big Sky Beer.
Sky Brewery. Our sponsor today and every day is Big Sky Brewery. Thank you for providing us with beer and good times, and for just working real hard to have your beer be preservative free and not moldy. Big Sky Brewing products are available in 36 different states.
I think that's the wrong number.
No, I think it's true.
Really?
That's the
Yeah.
number I read.
Yeah.
Mostly you see Moose Drool, but they also make a number of great things like Scapegoat IPA, which
Scapegoat Pale Ale.
Scapegoat Pale Ale, which is one of my faves, and there's Big Sky IPA over there, which is what I'm drinking right now.
Very
But
good.
they make a bunch of great beers, and they're right here in Missoula, Montana. We
Yeah.
love them. And now it's time for Caitlin's. For
I'm-
Stefan's fact.
My
Steph
name
and
is
I
Caitlin.
are frequently confused.
So, in World War One,
Oh, fast food.
in France, there were factories that produced munitions. And one of the things that they noticed about the factory workers there were that some of them were experiencing a lot of weight loss and like sweating and had fatigue and high body temperatures, like fevers.
Is this about Christian Bale and The Machinist? Because he lost a
I
lot of
don't
weight
know.
for that role.
By eating Taco Bell instead
By
of Wendy's.
eating Taco Bell?
Yeah, it's just bean burritos. Christian Bale. That's how he lost all his weight.
Oh,
for The
really?
Machinist. Yeah, I made that up.
Oh,
But
okay.
It's my fact for today.
Great. It's your second bad fact of the day.
Let's see what else I got.
Okay.
For later.
And so the chemical that was doing this is called 2,4-dinitrophenol.
Okay.
Commercially, I think it's still used as an antiseptic, pesticide. It's used in dye production, preservatives, wood preservatives, photo developers, and explosives. But so
like
All good things.
all great things, yeah. Well, so in 1933, some doctors at Stanford did some research on this to see if it could be used as a treatment for obesity because of the weight loss
Sure.
effect.
Lots of things.
yeah, I'm,
Lose weight. It are great.
Yeah, or
I'm
just
so nervous.
So-
give people the flu and be like, they lose weight.
Give them
Well-
tapeworms or something.
Tapeworms or TB.
Sure, yeah,
all
all
those
viable
things.
Methods, I guess.
I'll trend
Okay,
diets
so
at one time or another. No.
and so they found that it had this like extreme weight loss effect, and so that started this like craze, and this
Oh my God.
they called it DNP, was used in all these diet pills, and they were being sold, and like they estimated about 100,000 people were taking it, but by 1938 it was banned by the FDA
Cool.
Good job.
Thanks,
because
FDA.
people were
Were people like dying?
some people died. Some people were developing cataracts, like their eyes become cloudy. And
Yeah.
people go blind. But people were dying, and they were basically literally being cooked to death.
What?
Because it.
Okay, here we go.
Spontaneous
So-
human combustion.
No,
Not so
no,
spontaneous.
it's
like radioactive?
internally. So
Well, I mean,
DNP, this is-
spontaneous human combustion is also internal. That's the whole point, that you catch on fire. But this is
So-
sort of spontaneous, sustained human oxidation, is what I'm guessing. But-
no.
okay.
Okay, so
You were so
Mine is
perky
spooky.
about that.
DNP
Wrong.
in your body can shuttle protons across membranes.
Okay. Yeah.
And ATP production relies on a proton gradient across the membranes of your mitochondria and other parts of your cell. So DNP messes with that gradient, which makes ATP production super inefficient. And so your body cranks up the metabolism to compensate up to 50%.
So you eat your.
And all of the energy that's being wasted turns into heat.
Whoa.
People's body temperatures were going up to 111, which it's basically like frying an egg. Like all your proteins get cooked
Yeah.
and then you die.
Why didn't they notice this before they start giving it to
So
everybody?
it is dependent on dosage. Like at lower dosages,
It's totally cool.
it's like maybe just some liver and kidney damage, whatever. But like if you overdose, then that's when you cook yourself. Yeah. Sure.
like that song.
So that's the part that to me was like that's
Yeah.
the fast food because it's like fast
Nice.
metabolizing.
yeah,
I don't know. It's a pretty
wow.
loose connection, I
Brit
admit.
was here.
I thought they were just gonna start
fucking
putting in
science.
hamburgers or something. It's just like, and to this day, chicken McNuggets contain a small amount of this bullshit.
Well, so it was banned in 1938, but it has made a resurgence on bodybuilding forums.
no.
That's
as
how
like
you
a
found
fat
out
loss
about
supplement.
this.
Well, I was looking for fast food, but like the keyword fast brought this up.
Okay.
And I was like, this is super interesting. But So like there have been like 60 deaths in the 2000s from people using the supplement. Like this one guy bought it from his gym as like a weight loss thing, and he took it and he died after it was 8 hours before he died.
That's fucked up.
So
that should be
it's-
like illegal, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
he
It's
bought it from a
definitely.
gym.
This is unregulated.
Yeah.
And like
'Cause it's a
you buy it
supplement.
from Joe Schmo on eBay, and like you have no idea
Mm-hmm.
what kind
Right.
of dosage you're getting or whatever. Like
Stefan, you might be saving lives right now.
Yeah,
Don't
don't-
take this.
fucking take DNP.
What was it called again? Full name?
It's
2,4
it's sold
2,4
under DNP, but it's
2,4 dinitrophenol.
I have two more things.
Okay.
Cool.
More recently, there have been people trying to figure out if they can use this for treating different diseases, and it does show potential for reversing diabetes and treating non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but that's only been in rats so far, I think.
It's a rat
But,
anyway.
yeah, it's just a rat.
Don't
It's
feed
just
it
a rat.
candy.
But they were using modified versions of DNP that like only targeted the liver or had like super slow release. So it's like not the stuff that you buy from Joe Schmo on eBay.
Sorry, we're
Sorry, Joe.
Schmo on eBay so much.
Sorry. Yeah.
Joe's
Joe
got like,
Schmo's eBay stores getting
got
bad reviews this
100%.
week.
But yes, and then the only other thing was there were stories that in World War II the Russians gave this to their troops to keep them warm in the winter. But this is not confirmed.
not work.
I couldn't confirm it, but I thought that was a hilarious story because that's always like it's always the thing.
I don't
Like,
think
oh,
the Russians
Russians
would do
tried
that.
it.
Because the Russians would be like, we have vodka, and that makes you think you're warm. So
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I feel like
this,
it's
like,
kind of the
literally
same
makes
thing.
you
Like, it is,
warm.
I guess it does. Like, it heats up. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How would it
burns.
feel?
It burns your. How would it
Hot?
feel?
yeah.
I'm.
Inside
I think it
Inside
just
or
makes you
hot?
hot. That's and then you
Inside
start
hot.
sweating and
But
yeah,
it's
I
not like
don't
it's
know.
in
Fever.
one spot. You're inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like a
all
fever.
over.
I would imagine it feels like a fever.
Yeah.
But yeah, your proteins are designed to work at a specific temperature. And
Yeah.
they stop working at higher temperatures, and that is
Yeah.
why you die when you get too hot or too cold.
So
What is the death toll of this? Do you know? Like
I
over
couldn't find the
years?
numbers for back
Sounds
in
like a lot,
the
though.
30s.
But you said
it was just like
60?
60. It seemed like there were about 60
Recently.
recently.
Wow.
Kaylin Hoffmeister,
Cool. Well, those were both really good, guys. Mine is.
you were so
About-
excited about
I'm
this.
really
and you
excited
need to
about
own it.
mine. Okay,
Because you said that
'cause I
you
was
were.
yelling at everybody to not own their fries. I'm going to talk about fatty food and fried food.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love Wendy's and I love chicken nuggets.
Wendy's chicken nuggets are the best chicken nuggets.
They're so
don't know if
good.
I've had
I
Yeah.
love them so much.
Yeah. I love fried chicken and I love the environment.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I like where this is going.
we're going, like, the climate is warming, climate change is
Mm-hmm.
happening, and probably fried chicken is not super great for you, and probably eating a lot of meat is not super great for the environment all the time. But if you fry food, you can fry your potatoes, you can fry your chicken, you can fry cheese curds, and
Where the fuck are we going?
the fat in the cooking fats that come out of fryers eventually make their way into the atmosphere.
What?
And
How? Where? Why? Like it evaporates?
Yeah, there's a lab in the UK is working on this, but so in London, about 10% of air particles in large cities such as London, so London was the example they were using,
Okay.
are from cooking fats.
So like the particulates in the air, 10% of them are like tiny droplets of cooking fat.
Yes.
Okay.
And so-
cool.
And that's
And-
good.
I guess
and
that
it's-
makes some sense. Like you throw like a frozen chicken nugget into the fryer, it's gonna like throw some stuff
Yeah.
up, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
gonna get
Yeah.
vaporized and hang around.
I mean,
Yeah.
my sister used to work at Wendy's, and she smelled so much like chicken oil,
Yeah,
and
it
oil
sticks
when
to
she
you.
came home, and
You
it
just
would
be
stick
just
around
like, come give me
forever.
a hug.
No,
I need to smell that
Squirt her
chicken.
with some ketchup.
you didn't have to get anywhere near her. Just as soon as she was in the house, you could smell it everywhere. That's just like all the air.
Yeah, and so it goes into the air, and then it spontaneously like forms. The droplets like form a crystal like lattice together, and
Okay.
because it's like fatty, it's sort of thicker than like a water droplet, and so the scientists that are studying it compare it kind of more. It's not like as thick as honey, but it's more like honey. So like if you're like cloud seeding, you want something kind of thick to like form liquid around. And so all that like fat that is winding up in the atmosphere is causing the atmosphere to
rain?
be cloudier
What?
and will cool.
No.
Like is adding to
Holy
cooling.
shit.
Isn't that
no,
cool?
holy fucking science.
And so they're just studying it in the lab, but there is like, especially in like big cities where there is a lot of frying going on. Maybe not so much in cities that are like mostly like vegetarian, like in India or something.
Right.
But that there is like measurable fat particulate in the air, and so they're studying like
Out of all
what
the
that
things
means.
that people put into the air, 10% is oil?
In fatty
That's a
little
lot.
London, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Instead of, like,
London
cars
also,
and stuff.
yeah, it's probably like 90% cars and 10% French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like they don't think it's still in like early phases because they're just doing it in labs and stuff. But because it's like such a complex structure, it survives longer in the atmosphere, and that's why you can kind of see clouds with it. You're probably not saving the world by eating at Wendy's all the time
Yeah.
or
What
eating fried food.
if you know how people run cars on old cooking oil?
Yeah.
Once it comes out of the car,
Oh
Which
yeah,
one
is
is it?
that
Still a little greasy. It's still probably a little both.
Yeah,
yeah, probably.
is it a little better?
I mean, now I want to go to London and just like sniff.
yeah.
Be like, does this whole town smell like
But is
French
it-
fries?
I think it's like
I mean,
I think-
chips.
Here?
Yeah, I think it's chips and like there's a lot of fish and chips places in London. Like one
Yeah.
of the like news stories I saw about it was all these like fish and chips restaurant owners that were like, yes, we're saving the environment.
I was in London in England, and I was like, well, they eat fish and chips, and I kept having fish and chips, and I was like, I guess I haven't had good fish and chips yet, and then I realized that no, that's what it was. I was having the best fish and chips. It was just not a particularly interesting meal. Now I feel bad for insulting fish and chips, which is great. It's fun. It's wonderful.
I do want to go get
it's
chicken
wonderful.
strips now, though.
I am very
Popeyes?
hungry.
All right. Well, the people who are listening to our podcast live are fascinated by your fact, and they're all out there looking at fat
Yeah.
molecules assembled into highly ordered
Awesome.
lyotropic phases and
That's
such,
cool.
and trying to figure out how long fat particles stay in the atmosphere, because they're nerds, and I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's cool. We all had. I mean, I don't want to speak for my own, but your guys was great, and
Yours
like
was great.
it was all
Yeah.
like not the traditional things that you hear about with fast food.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud
That's
of
great.
us.
Mine was also very good. My
Yeah,
facts.
it was very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It was
Were
very
great.
good,
Thanks,
very
facts.
fast.
Thank you
very
for your
fast.
Very
compliments. I
factual.
appreciate it a lot.
You can come back next week,
but not before.
but not before.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Holy Fucking Science. All of you who are listening or watching at home. I am Hank Green.
I'm Stefan Chin.
I'm Valerie Barr.
I'm Kaylin Hoffmeister.
Whose fact was best?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Gotta judge.
Sam wants me to pick whose fact was best.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Kaylin Hoffmeister.
I was so scared of being judged.
Now it feels good, doesn't it? Who was behind the camera?
I'm Sam.
Sam Schultz.
And this has been Holy Fucking Science.
I have so much more to talk about fast food.
Yeah,
Generally, no information, just talking.
In general.
I just want to
Popeyes
talk
was a
more about
chicken
fast food.
place.
Popeyes?